Okay, members and friends, this is day 3 for me outside. I started this part in here yesterday. I was doing other stuff the other day. And I have to finish this. Again, sand. A lot of sand. It's all mostly sand and mud and rocks. This is what I've been covering up for the last 3 years since I've been here. So this year I need to just do a little bit. I'm going to do as much as I can today because I'm, getting ready for fall. And I want to remove, the miscellaneous stuff in my yard. But obviously I'm in distress. I'm having panic attacks all day long. I don't understand these people. I really don't. If my grandson has been diagnosed to have an eating disorder for the last 7 months, he's underweight, he's not thriving in terms of, anything on their scale of how they assess children. They don't want to take any responsibility for the actions that they brought on to my grandson by removing him from his family to take him off that learning curve, right? And put him into a deep depression with anxiety attacks and sadness and hurt and just what little children go through, right? As he's being punished for acting out, right? For crying, for wanting to run to his family when they were at visits, because that's been canceled for a long time with my girls. And now we've got this foster caregiver teaching my grandson to read lips. My grandson had a comprehension, had that ability. As a matter of fact, he was above his ability. Because when he was 1 and we used to bring him outside and he was walking, 14 months or whatever it was, right up until the time they took him, he knew that water, if you put it on a plant, is for the plant. Okay? That's comprehending. When he was playing the drums with the video that I posted up there, he knew that by changing the buttons would change the tune. And how old was he then? 14 months. That's comprehension. Same thing with the piano and his little organ. He knew that if he changed this button, it would change the sound. He knew if he turned it up, this was the volume. He knew if that was over there, that would change something over there. So he used to play with those buttons until these social workers came and took him away from all that, isolated him in a room someplace, stressed him out so much that he regressed back into infanthood at age 2.5, 3 years old. And now they feel that they have to teach him sign language or, reading lips so that he understands to pronounce a word in terms of comprehension. No, I don't think so. I think that's so that these people, when I go into this facility for my 1 hour a week visit, so that the judge can sit there and say, oh, okay, well this must be true because we've got these 22-year-old, 24-year-old college freaking educated, I don't know what they are, writing down all these things as they're interjecting themselves constantly into my playtime with my grandson. I'm sitting, second time we were there, I'm sitting in their little room, sitting there, cutting and pasting on the table, and she comes running up and puts her face like right in front of Andre. And it's like, well, he's having fun. He doesn't want to go. But so now what they do is they bring in children as the bait to distract him, to move him away from. But they're moving him away from his food now. For a child that's been suffering from an eating disorder that they helped to create, well, they didn't help, they did create it. Okay? Now they're trying to take him away from the food and put him in environments that are frightening, even for an adult. That's the last thing you expect in a inside playground. Scarecrows, rotten pears, apples, and spiders. Like, come on. What are they going to say? It's lack of funding. We don't have proper janitorial staff. They're not union. The guy didn't come to work today because he was not getting paid enough to clean up after freaking spiders and rotten apples. As if that's my responsibility. When in fact, it's just a distraction to take him away from his playtime that he was actually enjoying with his grandma, that made him feel good like he was producing something when he made that book, that he ate all his food with me, his chicken, his cheese, his grapes. They don't want him to eat and enjoy himself. They just want to control him. And now they're teaching him how to read lips so that when my back is turned, all they have to do is... And that will manipulate his behavior even more. So who do I file a complaint to? The Better Business Bureau? Is this good business? You know? Treating me like a criminal? I don't even know why I'm fucking there in the first place, other than to prove to some judge that really can't give a shit. Because if the judge gives a shit, why didn't they give the shit back then? Why didn't they make the inquiries back then? Why didn't they do the investigation back then? What makes this judge try and treat me like a criminal? Put me on some supervised visits where I'm being set up time after time after time to fail with my grandson. As this foster caregiver runs around acting like, I don't know, well, she's the nana, right? She gets to dictate who he sees, when he sees it, when, like my children. Oh, we don't want him seeing the aunties. He gets too anxious. He acts out. Well, yeah, because he loves his aunties, or he used to. But you took care of that, didn't you? You made it so he couldn't see his aunties anymore. So it's been since March, and this is already going into October soon. And this is your foster caregiver that is now teaching him language by reading the mouth because she failed to teach him anything else. And that's the bottom line. And then you try and criminalize me for your failures. Right? As you got your little work crew in this little facility all working for you as a foster caregiver because you know what's right for my grandson, right? Because you're the freaking nana now, right? These are the conditions I am working under. I am sick. What part of that do these people do not understand? And I'm sick because of their antics. All right? In all my life, I have never been 91 pounds. I've been 98 when I was 18 with an abusive man that beat me and starved me until I left him. But I have never, ever been 91 pounds. And that didn't happen until after they took Andre. But I'm still required to be a parent. I'm still required to be a president to my foundation until I can find a new president that's comfortable to deal with the issues that I deal with as a president to a foundation. Okay? We have a vice president. We have new board directors coming on board that are businessmen. So irregardless of what my personal life is, they see something of value in my nonprofit. So therefore, I must be responsible to it. And I work under those conditions with what these people put on me as I work on my nonprofit. Just like I have to do today what needs to be done today because I have a problem with sand and mud that I don't want my grandchild, anyone having to deal with that. I don't want it tracking into the house next year, right? My landlord can't do it. They're too old. My kids don't want to do it because they don't feel like it's their responsibility, and technically it's not. And I can't afford to pay somebody to do it because actually if I can afford to pay somebody to do it, I'd rather do that, but I can't, so I have to do it for myself. But I'm being punished for being responsible. I'm being punished once a week every freaking time I go to this stupid facility that personally I think it needs a freaking complaint against. And I'm being manipulated right along with my grandson to fail. So there's your system. It's a failure of systems that discriminate against minorities. My children are half black. They are minorities. We are a minority family. We don't fit in with the rest of the crowd. And therefore, these people that do these kind of games and write their little scripts before you walk in, write their little plays, their little charades or whatever you call those things. You know, they got it all pre-planned before you even freaking walk in through the door. Huh? I'm going to go there on Wednesday and I'm going to ask them, what am I being charged for? Do you know? Do you know why I deserve to be treated like this? And then have to come home and do this stuff and still be responsible? Time after time, go there, get abused, just when I feel like I'm getting ahead, just like I feel like I connected with my grandson, just when I know that my grandson is starting to feel really good about himself, They want to ruin it. They want to change the script. They want to introduce new kids. Let me tell you something. That's another thing. Before I go off and play with other people's kids in some spider-infested playground that's all insulated with freaking windows so everybody in the building can stare down on and look at you with their little fucking KKK hoods on. Hey, just imagine that. Now there's a picture for you. You're in this little playground with rotten apples, rotten pears, scarecrows, and spiders all over the place with these supervisors lounging around, but they're scowling at you now. They started to scowl at me. They probably got a wind of my videos, but you know what? You know, none of us like to look in the mirror. But the thing is, I have to look in the mirror every freaking day, and every freaking day I'm reminded that there's something fucking wrong with me. And every Wednesday is stamped home by a judge. When I go to this, what looks good for the judge? Okay, well here, judge, this is what looks good for you. I'm in the middle of this little playground, courtyard. I don't know what you want to call it. And you got the rotten apples, you got the rotten pears, you got the spiders all over the place, and that's not including what's crawling around on the ground. You got scarecrows in there, bigger than the kids, hiding in between the bush. The square footage is 60 feet by 40 feet, so you can imagine how intimidating that would be. And, I'm tired. This is my third day out here. I'm working like a dog. I work until 8, till it's dark. In other words, it just slipped in my mind what the point was. So I go in there, and we're in this little courtyard, because I just remembered. And because this thing is in the center of the building, you got rooms all around you. And it's a two-story building. So people at the top can be standing there with their arms crossed, with their faces looking like this, watching us. Like it's some sort of some kind of festival, only me and my grandson aren't invited. And as for these other children, it's another thing I wanted to say. Before I start playing with other people's children in this facility, when I'm scheduled in to visit my grandson, and as a grandparent, I want my grandson to sit and eat and play with me. That's the goal. As his nana, I'm not obligated to play with other people's children, whether there's lack of funding or not. I don't care. Because if I'm not going to go see the kids at Gateway right now at this point in life, because I'm so busy and worn out with all this and still trying to be responsible, right? I'm not going to play with those kids at that facility as they script their next play for me and my grandson, as they're teaching him how to read lips so they can direct his emotional development. In other words, we're sitting here playing with each other at the table. He's eating, you know, we're making another book. And all he has to do is look across the room as somebody walks in, because there's people walking in and out of that kitchen all the freaking time. And all they have to do is mouth something to change his mood. And that's the point. That's why they're doing it. It's not because he can't comprehend. It's because they're trying to manipulate his mood. Just like when they brought in those kids and they had to manipulate him away by, you know, he's been cooped up. He's been cooped up. He wants to go play. Damn right he wants to go play, because he's been in that facility before. And they use that little playroom as a reward. And they partner up the kids together so that, you know, birds of a feather flock together, right? So if one kid goes, they all want to go. But they're also disrupting his food intake with me, when they damn well know he's got an issue with food, because they're the ones that created it. They're the ones that withheld it and used it as a weapon. And they still are. And they don't like the fact that I'm vocal about it. Because this video is going up after tonight when I'm done. So hold on a minute. So we'll see. We'll see how much I get done today. I did that yesterday. see it's there. I want to finish this. Be back. So the people that foster this kind of stuff, this kind of dysfunction in our communities, they must really enjoy the fact that as I'm doing all this, cleaning up that morning glory, I'm crying. All I want to do is just curl up into a ball and cry and wither away as I am. Now this metal thing here, it's kind of what they had in their funky little study room that they call a courtyard. Matter of fact, that's probably what they did. They probably took one of these Christmas things and decorated it to look like a scarecrow. Right? When in fact, it's a Santa Claus, but we know what Santa Claus is all about since 2003. You know, kick out vulnerable families out into the streets, let them look after little girls for nothing, as the ministry is collecting a paycheck for it, and or the office that was monitoring that situation. I'm sure they got paid for that. I didn't, though. And then, you know, 2012, come along, kick out vulnerable women out into the streets where there's murders happening all over the place. You know, women being hung from street trees and people being shot in the face, and this is the kind of stuff the homeless people are facing. Hold on. And continue to abuse little children. Because they took him January 15th. They kicked out his mother into the streets without her prescription drugs, no shelter, no nothing, on December 11th. You do the math. Okay, since my children had no Christmas last year, no Ukrainian Christmas, no Ukrainian New Year's, no Easter, no Thanksgiving, nothing. Well, maybe we had Thanksgiving, but no birthdays. And let's put it this way. We're not looking forward to Christmas this year. Ukrainian Christmas, birthdays, nothing. New Year's, nothing. We'll be in court. This is what these social workers foster, right? And yeah, here's another thing. Since they are so keen on manipulating the situation and, you know, dumbing down Andre to the point where he's like 14 months old, and even then he understood at 14 months old, well before his age. Right? And they've got him seeing this doctor, that psychiatrist, this doctor. You know, how many doctors do they got seeing him? Right? How do we know that they don't got him scheduled for something very insidious, since their actions have been insidious the whole time? Because they're not honest. Right? There's nothing honest about them. This is August 7th? September 7th, 2013. They took my grandson January 15th, and they're treating me like a criminal. Just like Christy Clark's Family Day. You know, we didn't get to celebrate no Family Day. And when we had that big-ass snowstorm, Andre never got to go out on his little sled. Right? Instead, he was crying, locked in some room, being tormented by a woman that wants to teach him how to lip read 7 months later, as he's trying to connect with his real Nana. Okay, members and friends, I'm having a really bad day today. I'm having panic attacks all day. I'm on the verge of bursting out in tears here. Now, I'm trying to stay strong for my grandson, right? I don't know what kind of games these people, you know, are playing. I've never met people like this except for when I lived in that apartment block and there was people there that just didn't want me to do things with the kids. They were very racist people, right? Lots of Africans lived in that complex, and they just wanted to ruin it for all the kids. You know, kids from Lebanon and places like that. Anybody that wasn't white, right? Native American, because the woman said she was Native American, but I don't know. I don't know if she was Native American or like, you know, First Nations, or if she was white or Métis or something. But she definitely had problems where she just didn't want the neighborhood kids to have fun. She used to cause so much trouble for me. Well, this is the same kind of thing what they're doing with my grandson. I just don't know what to do anymore. And that's it. Like, what's the point? I guess some grub will move in, enjoy the effort of my labor, just like some grub took my grandson. These people living off of my grandson, right? My grandson can't even play in his playhouse.